Tennis has always been a sport of control, clean outfits, composed behavior, minimal emotion. But behind that polished image, some of the biggest names in tennis carry something deeply personal. Hidden tattoos, rarely talked about, but impossible to ignore once you notice them. Today, we're not dealing with rumors or speculation. Every tattoo in this video is real, visible, and confirmed. And in many cases, the players themselves have explained why they got them. Because in tennis, tattoos aren't fashion, they're memory. Why tattoos are still rare in tennis? Compared to sports like football or basketball, tattoos are still uncommon in tennis. That is not accidental. Tennis culture values tradition, discipline, sponsor visibility, and clean presentation. So when a player chooses to get tattooed, especially visibly, it usually means something important. These are not impulsive decisions, they are intentional. Nick Kyrgios. Tattoos as a personal diary. Nick Kyrgios is the most tattooed high-profile player in modern tennis. And unlike most players, he has openly talked about what his tattoos mean. Kyrgios has multiple visible tattoos on his arms and body, many of which fans see clearly during matches. In interviews, Kyrgios has explained that his tattoos represent family, personal struggles, and emotional moments in his life. He has said his tattoos are reminders of where he has been mentally, not decorations for other people. For Kyrgios, tattoos serve as emotional grounding, memory markers, and expressions of identity. They match his personality, honest, raw, and unfiltered. In a sport that often asks players to hide emotion, Kyrgios wears his story on his skin. Why does Kyrgios never hide his tattoos? What makes Kyrgios unique is not just that he has tattoos, it is that he never tried to hide them. He did not cover them for sponsors. He did not explain them unless asked. He did not adjust his image to fit tennis tradition. And that choice alone made him stand out. Whether fans love him or criticize him, his tattoos reflect one thing clearly: authenticity. Stan Wawrinka, the most iconic tattoo in tennis. A full quote tattooed on his arm, clearly visible during matches. The quote reads, "Ever tried, ever failed, no matter, try again, fail better." Wawrinka has spoken publicly about this tattoo. He explained that it represents perseverance, especially during times when his career was questioned and overshadowed by bigger names. What's important is when he got it. Not after winning Grand Slams, not after reaching the top, but during a period of doubt. That tattoo became a mental anchor, a constant reminder to keep going regardless of results. And soon after, Wawrinka reached the peak of his career. Why this tattoo matters in tennis. Tennis is an individual sport. There's no team to hide behind, no substitutions, no shared responsibility. When confidence drops, everything collapses. Wawrinka's tattoo wasn't rebellion. It was survival. Serena Williams, subtle but confident. Serena Williams does not have large or flashy tattoos. She does have small, visible, confirmed tattoos, seen in photos and public appearances. Unlike Kyrgios or Wawrinka, Serena never made her tattoos the center of attention. And that is exactly the point. Serena has spoken many times about self-belief and confidence, and her tattoos reflect that mindset. They are subtle, intentional, and personal. In a sport where Serena was constantly scrutinized, not just for performance, but for appearance, choosing to get tattooed was another form of quiet self-ownership. She never needed to explain them. Her career spoke loudly enough. Naomi Osaka, tattoos as identity. Naomi Osaka represents a different generation of tennis players. She is more open about the things that matter to her: mental health, identity, self-expression. Osaka has confirmed and visible tattoos, some of which have appeared during tournaments and photo shoots. She has spoken openly about being comfortable expressing herself on her own terms, and her tattoos are part of that. For Osaka, tattoos are not statements to the sport. They are statements to herself. They reflect personal identity, cultural influence, and emotional expression. In interviews, she has emphasized the importance of feeling authentic, especially in a sport that can feel isolating. Why Osaka's tattoos mark a shift in tennis. Osaka's tattoos signal something important. Tennis is changing, slowly but clearly. Younger players are less afraid of expression, more open about individuality, and less bound by tradition. Tattoos are becoming part of that evolution, not loudly, but steadily. What all these players have in common. Despite their differences, Kyrgios, Wawrinka, Serena, and Osaka share one thing. Their tattoos are not for attention. They are for memory, grounding, confidence, identity. None of them treat tattoos as trends. Each tattoo marks something internal, not external success. Why you rarely hear them talk about it. Even when tattoos are visible, most tennis players don't discuss them often. Why? Because in tennis, silence is power, privacy is protection, overexposure can be damaging. Talking too much invites judgment. So many players let the tattoos exist without explanation, and that makes them more interesting. One detail fans often miss. Tennis players are filmed constantly. Every angle, every camera, every match. If a tattoo is visible, it is visible by choice, which means every tattoo you have seen on court was carefully accepted by the player, and that alone tells a story. The future of tattoos in tennis. Tennis doesn't change quickly, but it does change. What used to be rare is slowly becoming accepted, not because players are rebelling, but because the sport itself is evolving. The next generation of tennis players grew up in a world where self-expression is normal, mental health is discussed openly, individuality is no longer hidden. For them, tattoos aren't statements against tradition. They're simply part of who they are. And importantly, the tattoos we see in tennis today are still controlled, meaningful, intentional. They are not loud. They are not excessive. They fit the culture without rewriting it. Why tattoos in tennis will never look like other sports. Even as tennis evolves, it will never mirror sports like football or basketball. Why? Because tennis is still individual, sponsor-driven, globally conservative, tradition-heavy. That creates natural limits. So instead of full sleeves and visible ink everywhere, tennis tattoos will likely remain smaller, more symbolic, selectively visible. And that actually makes them more powerful, because when something is rare, it carries weight. What these tattoos really represent. When you strip away the visuals, these tattoos tell similar stories. Not about fame, not about money, not about rebellion. They are about perseverance, identity, emotional grounding, surviving pressure. Kyrgios uses tattoos as emotional memory. Wawrinka uses his as mental reinforcement. Serena's tattoos reflect confidence without explanation. Osaka's tattoos express identity on her own terms. Different players, same purpose. Why fans are drawn to these details. Fans don't obsess over tattoos because they look cool. They obsess because tattoos feel human. Tennis players are often seen as controlled, distant, and composed. Tattoos quietly break that image. They remind us that behind every match is someone dealing with doubt, stress, expectations, and personal battles. And in a sport where emotions are usually hidden, that honesty matters. The biggest misunderstanding. Many people assume tattoos are about attention. In tennis, they almost never are. They're about ownership, owning your story, owning your identity, owning something permanent in a career where rankings change every week. That's why so many of these tattoos stay unexplained. Some things are meant to belong only to the player. Tennis may look clean on the surface, but beneath that surface are stories you will never see on the scoreboard. Sometimes those stories are written in ink, not to be shown off, but to be carried quietly through every match. And once you start noticing them, you realize something important. Even in the most controlled sport in the world, players still find ways to be themselves. If you enjoy deep tennis stories that focus on real players, real details, and real context, subscribe to Top Spin and let me know in the comments. Which tennis player surprised you the most in this video? More tennis stories coming next.